it's going, but we can always edit stuff
Okay,
out.
good
Okay,
deal. Like edit that because I just got
yeah.
a tickle.
So Pat McCreary, could you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, Tony Altucker. My name is Pat McCreary, and I'm a ninth grade humanities teacher at Health and Science School in Beaverton.
And what did you and your class most recently study?
Well, this trimester we've been focusing on a learning target that has to do with historical turning points, what they are, what their impact is as a concept. And so as a case study, we looked specifically at Japanese American internment as a turning point and studied both kind of the historical context of it as well as what led up to it and its impact on events that followed.
Okay. And how do you think this worked in terms of using social studies practices to reach students and support them as learners?
Well, I feel pretty good about it. In thinking of those practices, one of the things I always try to do is keep in mind how to address all those 5 qualities with any unit that I do. So in terms of making it meaningful, as I said, we're really studying the larger concept of turning points, but I wanted students to be able to apply it to something tangible. So we looked at the case study of Japanese American internment. We also made very clear connections to things that are more relevant today. So students made a connection between Japanese American internment and some of the racial politics involved in immigration today. Also, we talked a little bit about how similar sentiments came up around September 11th, 2001, when many Muslim Americans were targeted simply because of their religious or ethnic background. So in terms of it being meaningful, I think students felt a real connection to that. There's a sense that as Americans, we need to be constantly vigilant and watch out for things that might, things where our nation may get divided and treat people unfairly as a result. In terms of being integrative, it is a humanities class, so we do a lot of reading and writing in there. So we integrate across disciplines. We also, within this, tried to focus on lots of different elements of it, not just the history of it, but also the geographic impact. So where did it take place in the United States? And we studied kind of the centers of Japanese American populations on the western United States. The economics involved. Many Japanese Americans were focused in certain core areas of the economy, and we looked at what happened when they were forcibly removed. Probably the biggest hit, in addition to just the historical details around it, the biggest area of study was in the social impact of it, so sociology, etc., looking at race and the concept of race and ethnicity, and specifically what it means to be a hyphenated American. That was something that came up quite a bit. It was tremendously values-based. We talked about just the rightness or wrongness of an event like this happening. We focused a bit on the civil liberties implications of Japanese American internment. So students studied the Bill of Rights and looked at where areas of the Bill of Rights were potentially violated as a result of internment. And we really kind of talked about the notion of, as a country made up of people of various ethnicities, how do we determine our loyalty to, is it to our country or to our country of origin, and what should it be, and should we judge others based solely on those things? In terms of it being challenging, I think the idea of getting students to see an issue from somebody else's perspective is always a challenge. I think having ninth grade students deal with concepts such as race and the impact of culture is very challenging for them, because to them it's something they live, it's not necessarily something they think about. The idea of really understanding governmental actions and the legality or illegality of them is a tough thing for them to consider, partly because I think a lot of them feel like they're not mature enough yet to challenge the government's actions either today or in history. So that part was there. And in terms of being active, we did 2 specific activities, one at the beginning and one towards the middle, designed to really get them involved in this. One of them was a building background knowledge activity where students kind of simulated a little bit of the internment experience. The other was a fieldwork day where we had students do a variety of activities, including meeting with guest speakers in the school who themselves had lived in the internment camps, and also visiting 2 places in Portland, the Japanese American Memorial down at the Waterfront Park, and the Oregon Nikkei Legacy Center, where they got to tour an exhibit devoted to keeping kind of the memory of internment alive. So with those, we sort of tried to hit all sort of 5 key areas of the social studies content standards.
Great. Thank you very much.
Help?
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
That was long-winded.